So while we are waiting to see if anyone else comes, let me know as well what you want to get out of this masterclass specifically. Basically, what are your reasons for coming today? What do you want to learn from it? What do you want to get out of it? And then we can compare at the end to ensure that you have got your takeaway. Let me know in the chat, and we'll wait for those to come in. But otherwise, I'm going to do a screen share today. So I've got some slides, quite a lot of information in there, but I wanted to give even more. So we're going to be looking at niche, ideal client, the problem that you're solving, a little bit of offer positioning as well. And then even more. But I said we'll limit it to an hour because I know that everybody has got other stuff to be getting on, doing this around client work as well. Niche down, my target audience feels too broad. Fab, you're in the right place. Broad audience, that is not what we want. And I'm going to go into detail on why. And there's many different reasons, many different ways that you can niche down. Like everybody thinks it's industry specific, but it can be to do with your target audience, the nature of your services, also an industry. But yeah, it's really important to get super, super clear on who it is that you're serving, because if it's too broad, it's the whole, when you try and speak to everyone, you speak to no one. So we want to make sure that that's not the case, so that you're being really, really super targeted and specific with who you are talking to. Okay, cool. Okay, I'm currently putting a new offer together, so I mainly want to understand if I'm staying on track when it comes to my niche audience. That problem's cool. I think it's just a good review for myself. You know, I'm a big fan of your stuff and always learn nuggets. Oh, love it. Cool. And what we're going to do anyway is I really love the chat box. So I'm going to be asking questions throughout anyway. So as I said, there's no pressure to come off video, and you don't need to, because I'm actually going to share my screen. And so I'm just going to be a little video in the corner anyway. But any questions that you have throughout, put them in the chat box. And yeah, and then at intersections during the masterclass, I'll open up the text box and ask them, and then there'll be Q&A at the end anyway. Cool. So let me, one moment. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Okay, hopefully you can all see the screen. Let me know, because tech issues. Down here. Fab. Can everyone see? Hopefully, thumbs up. Okay, so nailing your niche, the fugg down, even if you're multi-passionate and have a million different skills, so you can start charging a lot of money for your services, high ticket services, and have ideal clients blowing up your offers every single month. So today's agenda, intro to me. I'm going to give a bit of intro to me. Most people here, you know who I am, but I'm going to repeat it anyway. Obviously, the Fire Masterclass, my new offer announcement, which is actually an offer that I ran twice last year, and it really was super popular. So I decided to bring it back. So it's kind of like a relaunch, and then open up the floor for Q&A as well. So who am I? Personal branding and business strategist. I've been doing this for 4 years now, but before that, for 4 years, I was working as a customer success manager at a HR tech company for employee engagement in London. For those of you that have been following me for a while, you know a lot about my story, which is that I started off like for 2 years. It was really great, and I really, really loved it. And I was celebrated, and I was hired for my personality. And then 2 years in, it was like, oh, okay, you know, we've got goals, we're private equity backed. You need to kind of sit down, shut up, and just get on with stuff. And so by the end of it, it was like it transcended into a very toxic work environment for me. And I knew anyway that this was not my forever thing. My personality does not fit the 9 to 5 world. So in 2019, I did a life coaching certification diploma and then launched my business in May 2020, which brings me to what I do today, which is teaching disruptive, outspoken, those rebellious, misfit kind of corporate rebel type people, the coaches and consultants, how to really effectively market their services and unapologetically self-promote. So you can sell out your offers, quantum leap up to 5-figure months, and scale your business twice as fast. So we're going to dive straight into it. As I said, any questions throughout, pop them in the chat box. And when there's a kind of like a gap between sections, then I'll bring up the chat box and answer any questions as we go through. So why niche down and how to decide on your niche as well. So why is defining a niche so important? So also as we go through, I want you to pop in the text box for each section, because I think there's about 6 sections, and I'm going to be asking you, what's yours? What's yours? So for those of you that do have a niche, write in the text box what your niche is as well. And for those, Adam, I know that you said you're figuring it out at the moment. So if your niche is too broad, then your message is going to become too diluted and you're going to struggle to sign clients, because a broad niche means that you're competing against many bigger name competitors, people who are further along in the journey than you. Now, when I use the word competitors and competition, I always mean kind of like this, because I do believe that there's no such thing as competition, but for the sake of this, you will know what I mean. People who are doing very similar to you and have a similar target audience. So when people buy, especially high ticket, they want to minimize risk. Okay. And bigger name competitors are naturally a less risky option. Typically they've been around longer, they've got more of a presence, they've got more social proof, and so they're a less risky option. So this is why you need to hyper niche. For those that were following me last year, who remembers the hyper niche, which was the first time I launched the 30-day accelerator. It was all around hyper niching your services, going really, really niche and specific to something that is very unique to you. So that, as we said, you're really standing out as something that's totally unique and different from everything else that's out there. And this is what allows you to position your services as something that's also very unique and different. So how to choose a profitable niche? Who has heard this before? There are 4 niches that people will always invest in. So this is health. People want to become more healthy. Obviously, that's a broad, but people want to become more healthy. Wealth, people always want to make more money. Love, people want to find love. And status, which for me, status is tied to the wealth one, but status and reputation are things that people also value a lot. So bear this in mind when choosing your own niche, that you want to somehow relate what you're doing back to one of these things. The majority of clients that I work with are in the business space, so it is all around money and wealth, that kind of thing. But I do have also worked with other people that do health and love, relationship coaches as well. So bear this in mind when choosing your own niche, that you want to relate what you're doing back to one of these niches. You need to show people how you help them achieve, we'll go into this later, the goal in half the time, in less time, because your services are speeding everything up for them. So what happens if you are multi-passionate, you have multiple different niches to serve with different skills? It's a really nice problem to have, that you have loads of different skills and you can help loads of different people. But when it comes to narrowing down your services, you really have to be specific, because going back to the previous slide, when you try and speak to everyone, you speak to no one. So you really need to decide which one you're most passionate about helping and serving, because there will be days, there will be weeks where clients are not converting, you're not making money, you're not getting inquiries. Who is the niche that even when nothing is going well for you in your business, or it feels like nothing's going well for you in your business, you can still show up and talk about this and have conversations because you just love it so much? Whether that's a target audience, whether that's services, if you're a copywriter and you're like, I really hate monthly retainers doing social media, but I just love sales pages so much, then great. Make that your niche. What's the thing? Who are the people that you love showing up for? Who's going to benefit most from your skills? So really think about what your skills are and who is going to benefit from them. Looking at either what you're doing now, your past experience that you've had from jobs as well. Who is going to really benefit from what you do? because the skills that you have for a specific type of person or the specific services that they need, this is going to make selling a lot more easy for you. Consider who is going to connect most with your journey and your past experiences. So when you think about telling your original brand story, whatever that is, your own journey that's got you from starting to where you are today, who's really going to relate to that? So really think about that and ask yourself, out of anything, who needs your help the most? Really think about that. Take some time away, reflect, and ask, like, who really needs my services? Who actually will pay for this because there's somebody that really needs it? So let me know, for all of you in the chat, as we go to the next section, what is your niche and which of these niches, the 4 niches, do your services relate to? Is it health? Is it wealth? Is it love? Is it status? Is it something else? Let me know. Oh goodness, we're frozen. Okay, let's come to the chat box. Oh goodness, where are we? Health, Carol, awesome. Wealth, money. I think, yeah, a couple of you here are for, are in the business. Mine is middle between health and wealth. And this is the thing, right? That's a very important point to say, is people say, but it helps people in all areas of their life. And it absolutely does. Imagine that you help someone make more money in their business. But if you help them make more money, they're going to feel less stressed. They're going to have more time in their day to be able to exercise, for example. You know, it's going to strengthen their relationships with people, friends, partners. It's going to strengthen their relationships with these people because they're happier, because they're making money. So your niche relates to all sorts of these, all these different areas, because when people succeed in one area of their life, it of course has a ripple effect in different areas of their life. But it's deciding what's the, and we'll come on to this as well, what's the main problem that you're solving and why do people want that problem solving? And that will help you get clear on what's the main niche. And of course you can talk about it, like how I grew my business and like my relationships with my relationship with my partner got better, for example. Like, of course you can show that so people understand, but it's really deciding what's that the main one. My niche is solopreneurs, so I think could be a few of them. 100%. So again, you just need to think about solopreneurs. A lot of people think, and I have a very specific view on this, that when it comes to niching down, it can be in different areas. So you can have, for example, a broader target audience if the nature of what you do and your services is really hyper specific. But ultimately, when in your content and your offers, you're showing people that you really understand them and what they do and what they need help with, it's easier to choose one target audience because, for example, solopreneurs, coaches, consultants, freelancers, other people. So like a freelancer's business model is different to a coach's business model, just even in the way that they sign clients, the nature of the work they do, done for you versus done with you. So my advice is to choose one within those. Coaches and consultants, for me, they go together because the nature of what they do is very similar in how they package their services. But for me, freelancers is different. Okay, fab. Next section. So who's the ideal client who can afford your services? So let's go. So here's what you need to know about your ideal client. The demographics are not as important as the psychographics, which are not as important as the point where they're at in their journey. Demographics are the things that kind of externally define them. So what's their age? What's their salary? How many children do they have? What's their political view? What's their religion? Psychographics are the more internal things that drive them. So what's their personality? What are their values? What are their beliefs? And then the point where they're at in their journey. So this is when you really start to show a very deep understanding of your ideal client. This is what makes them read your content and say, wow, like this person gets me. And this is why, come to it or later, market research is so key. So the point where they're at in their journey, something you really need to consider is the less that people have already tried, the more you have to convince them. And nobody should be convincing anybody in business, especially when it comes to high ticket clients. These are people who value time over money. So they're people who already know that they need a solution. They're happy for a solution. They're happy to pay because they are people who don't like to mess around and waste time trying to do everything themselves. So they are ready to fork out for the right person. They are just waiting for that right person to appear in front of them. And I can tell you this from my own experience that I invested into a one-to-one coach last year. And before that, I had been waiting for a while. And I was just like, I'm waiting for the right person to present themselves to me. And when they did, immediately, I was like, within 30 days, signed up for his one-to-one. I also recently invested into some admin help, and I'd also been thinking about it for a while. And when she came into my DMs and proposed, I was like, yep, let's go. So I can tell you as that high ticket buyer person that when you have the thing that people need and it's presented to them at the point in their journey where they need it, they will jump right into your offer. They will. So the further along someone is in their journey, the more invested they are in seeing results. Let's imagine for a moment somebody is new to business. They've just started within 6 months. Are they more invested into their business than the person who's struggling but is 5 years in? Of course, it depends on, they're like, no, I can't go back to a 9 to 5, like the people who are 6 months in, but the people who are 5 years in, they're like, this literally cannot fail now. I've already given so much to it. So you really want to think about how can you evolve your ideal client as it is now? Like people can't go, you can't go straight forward and be like, I work with 9-figure entrepreneurs. Like, well, you can, but like as it's a journey and you build it, but just think about who's your ideal client right now and how can you evolve that slightly so that they're a little bit more invested into their journey and at the point where they're like, I need this. So ongoing market research is what really allows you to get this continuous insight. So asking people, what have they already tried? What mistakes are they making? What are they doing wrong? What have they not tried yet? And the more you ask these questions, it builds out this whole picture of who the ideal client is, the point they're at in their journey, what they've tried, what they haven't, what their goals are, what they're working towards, where they feel objectively their gaps are at the moment. And this is the level of insight that you put into your offers, that you put into your marketing that allows people to see this person really gets me. Does that make sense? Let me know in the chat box. You also need to think about who you want to work with versus who you absolutely don't. And this is something that so many business owners actually forget, that you have the power to decide who you work with. You don't need to take on anyone and everyone. And I know when you're more at the beginning of your journey, it can feel tempting to do that. But really, sometimes people who you can tell from the beginning are an unaligned fit do turn out to be clients that you don't enjoy working with. So you really want to be clear. What are your own values, your vision, your mission? Who aligns with these and who doesn't? What's your personality type? Who is compatible with this and who isn't? And of course, I would put this in, you want to be polarizing. But what I mean here is you really want to call out clearly the people that you want to work with, but also very strongly repel the people who you don't. Because this is what brings more qualified business to you, is when you're very specific on, if you are this kind of person, then my services are not for you. So the person who reads that is like, okay, I'm not going to go and inquire anyway, because the services are clearly not for me. So whatever that looks like for you. And conversely, if you are X, Y, and Z, then you are the person that my services are for. So this ensures that you get those high quality inquiries from people who are already qualified ideal clients. And this is what you want to do. We're going further ahead now, but like in your marketing is use your marketing, your content to qualify the right kind of people that you want to draw in to your business, to your services. And the more specific that you can get with the type of person that you want to work with, naturally, the easier it's going to be to communicate with them. So what I tell all of my clients is a really good starting point is is there someone that you know right now, who you follow online, who has been a past client, who is a current client, someone who you identify as a dream client, who you can base your ideal client on? So this is a really great starting point to bring this ideal client to life. And then once you've identified who that is, really ask yourself, what is it about this person that makes them such an ideal client? Because that's what you want to establish. Is it just literally that they paid your invoice on time, that they take on your advice, that they like follow what you say rather than like calling you out and saying, well, I don't agree with that, for example? Like, what are the things specifically that makes these people really ideal clients to work with? And that can just be like, if you've got one client at the moment who's great, ask yourself, like, why are they great? How do I use the information that I know about this person to be more specific in my content about drawing in more of these people? Fab, we've come to the end of the section. So let me know any questions from that section. Does that all make sense? Who is your ideal client? Tell me in one sentence. It's impossible to do in one sentence, but in one sentence, tell me in a nutshell, who is the ideal client that you really, really love working with? Who is the person who you're like, this person just absolutely lights my soul on fire? Or if you're not working with that many clients at the moment, who is the person that you really want to work with? What are some of their traits? What are some of their qualities that, their values, their beliefs that are really important to you? Let me know in the chat box. Don't be shy. Although I see the chat box is not popping off at the moment. So you are all being very shy. Okay, put it in there anyway. And this is good for you as a brainstorming exercise. And then I'll come to the chat box in a little bit. So we've got movement. I think for me, it needs to be someone who already has a pretty good understanding of what I offer. Fab. And this is really important. This is where you move away from this convincing mode as well. If somebody doesn't understand what you do or why they need it, you're going to have to be doing more problem awareness, more convincing content. Whereas if they're people who are already like, I know what this is, I know why I need it, I'm just waiting for the right person to present to me, then cool. Then it's just about really showing that deep understanding of your ideal client and painting that big vision of where they want to be. So it's good that you have that clarity. So what one problem are you solving? This is a very, I was going to say serious point, but that's not serious point that many people struggle to get. And it's that too many people focus on the nature of their services, the goals, the outcomes, the desires they help their clients achieve, but actually lose sight of the problem they're solving. This has to be so clear so that people see how your services really, really fill that gap. I've got two examples for you because I love an example to really help bring to life the point that I'm illustrating. So this has to be stated as how the client identifies with the problem and how it shows up for them on a daily basis, because this is when somebody says, wow, I can see like this is clearly the problem they're solving. I have that problem. Yes, I need your services. Let me just come to the chat box so we can delete it. Cool. I work with women who already have the right services for their audience and are getting clients, but it requires a lot more time and effort than they'd like because they're not clear on their messaging. Cool. Absolutely. Yeah. And I know obviously I follow all of your content, so that makes sense because I know what you do. So example number one. So target audience is early stage coaches who are booked out with cheap clients. They're burnt out, their income is capped, they want more money, but they've got no time to grow their business because they're literally like back to back all day with clients, barely hitting an income that like replaces their 9 to 5. So people would maybe think the perceived problem is that they're really struggling to up their rates and attract aligned clients. But the actual problem as they identify it could be that they're actually struggling to grow their business outside of client work because they have 0 extra free time in the week. So you see the difference is struggling to up their rates and attract ideal clients who will pay. This is more, or would be, because this is a hypothetical situation that I created, but this is more the focus of the solution. the problem is that you're struggling to grow your business outside of client work because you've got 0 extra free time. My solution is helping you to up your rates so that you can actually work with fewer clients at a higher price point, so you do have more time to grow your business and your income in other ways. Number 1. Target audience example number 2 is startup founders who have too much workload. They're trying to manage a team. They don't want to delegate because they don't trust workers to deliver work to the same standard. Sales are struggling as a result. The perceived problem could be that they have too much overwhelm to figure out a clear plan of action every day. But this is not the problem that is keeping them awake at night. They're not saying, oh, I'm just so overwhelmed. They could be saying that, but that is not the problem in a way that's like, oh my God, I need help. The actual problem could be, because as I said, this is a hypothetical situation, that they're struggling to hit monthly sales targets, drive more revenue, and grow their team. As the expert, hypothetically, you would be saying, I'm telling you the reason for that is because you're so overwhelmed and you don't have a clear plan of action. So I help you overcome the overwhelm to create a clear plan of action so that you can hit your monthly sales targets, drive more revenue, and grow your team. Now, these are, of course, not like totally specific because they are hypothetical examples, but to illustrate the point. Again, is it too niche to concentrate on one specific problem, such as the ones in your example here? No, because the whole point of your services is you are solving one problem. As you expand your product suite, your offer suite, different offers will solve different problems, but ultimately your services solve one problem. That's it. One problem. One problem for one target audience. So how to understand the problem that you solve? Proactive market research always to understand your ideal client. Sales calls. These are really, really good as well. If you're getting on sales calls, record them. If you feel like you can't multitask and take notes at the same time, record your sales calls, go back over and listen to them. Because when people get on sales calls, they're at the point where they're so frustrated with everything, they are ready to just let loose. Who has experienced this? People are just like, you're like, tell me where you're at right now. Tell me, what your biggest challenges are. And they're just like, bleh. They want a space where people will listen and understand and make them feel heard and understood. So listen and remember, or record the call so you can go back to it. And current clients, listen to the difficulties that they bring to you while working together, because just because they're clients, if they're like a couple of weeks into working with you and they're like, I'm really struggling with this, then it's always the case that the rest of, ideal clients who are not your actual clients yet, this is something they're also struggling with. So always listen to what current clients are saying is a struggle and use this to frame your marketing, your offers, what you're doing. Okay, I'm just going to keep coming back to the chat here. My ideal clients are both the people in example 1 and 2, but my solution is mindset and nervous system coaching. So ideal clients, you mean because one was new coaches and one was the startup founders. So you mean the target audience was the same? What exactly do you mean by both the people, just busy people? Okay, so that's fine. So we'll get a lot more specific with it inside the offer so that we can really niche down, because yes, people is really, really specific. So we want to make sure that it's focusing on solving the one problem for the one target audience. So don't worry about that, Annie. When we kick off in the accelerator, we'll solve that for you. Okay, so niche it down and be super specific. So hyper niching, micro niching, this is what I was all about for a good few months last year. And I'm still a massive advocate for it, but I don't speak about it as much in my marketing. But what is it and why is it important? This is finding a niche and then making it even more specific. The online space is becoming more saturated. There is absolutely room for everybody, but you need to really think more about how do you stand out from bigger name competitors, even just competitors at the same level as you, who offer something more broad and vague. So hyper niching is what allows you to really go deep within your niche, to get very specific with your offers, with your content. This makes everything more targeted. And this is what allows you to charge higher rates for your services, because you're seen as a specialist rather than a generalist. And that's the difference here. If you're like, oh, I do a bit of everything for everyone, then it's like, cool, you can go into a pot of options with all the other people that I'm shopping around for. Whereas when you position yourself as the person for that one thing, then you can charge a lot of money for that because you're a specialist, and people expect to pay a lot of money for specialists. So here's what you need to know to create a standout offer for your services. The target audience that this is for, the one problem that you solve, what your services help them with specifically, the goal of working together, why they want to achieve that goal, and also the unique selling point that makes your offer different. We're going to cover a few of these in broad detail. So defining a USP, unique selling proposition, unique selling point for your services, 2 ways to view a USP. So of course you have your personal USP. This is totally unique to you. You know, your strengths, your skills, your qualities, your journey, your stories, your value, your story, your values, the skills that you bring based on your past experience. So what are the things about you, why someone should want to work with you as a person? And then secondly, the way you position your services to overcome the myths and objections that they may have. So for example, I help you, this is just brackets, obviously this is not my niche. I help you find your forever person without spending hours on dating apps. I help you lose 10 pounds without giving up alcohol or your favorite takeaways. So this is an incredibly powerful way to create a really powerful, unique selling point for your services in a way that also busts their biggest myth or objection upfront. With these 2 examples, someone might say, oh, I want to find my forever person, but I just feel like in order to do it, I've just got to spend like hours on all of the dating apps, and I just don't want to do that. So your solution is, well, I do help you do this without doing that, because maybe their solution is that it's about helping them create a plan to get out there in the real world and do hobbies that they love doing, for example. I help you lose 10 pounds without giving up alcohol, your favorite takeaways. People say, I really want to lose 10 pounds, but like, I just don't want to give up my Saturday takeaway. Like, it's really difficult to give up alcohol. So maybe this is a mindset coach who's saying, well, actually, you don't need to give up any of those things. You can lose 10 pounds and still have all of these things that you really love. But it's about the mindset stuff that comes with, again, this isn't my area of expertise, but that comes with establishing boundaries, maybe just like tracking your food and calories, weighing things out, whatever that would look like. So you want to think about what's that biggest objection that they have to themselves, and then making this a part of your offer so that it's unique. And this is the best way to really create an offer that is unique and different. Even if this is what everybody else will be thinking, like your competitors going, well, I help them do it without spending hours on a dating app as well. The fact is you're stating it. So it tells the person up front, oh, this is what I need because I don't want to be on dating apps all the time. And then also part of your USP is creating a unique framework for your services. So why? Because it removes risk for the buyer. It guarantees results if they follow a formula. It gives more certainty to the return on investment, and it simplifies the work that you do and removes the overwhelm. So imagine someone came to you and they're like, cool, can you just give me an overview of what it looks like to work together? And you're like, don't really know. Like, we do some stuff, but like, we'll just figure it out as we go along. Like, right, well, that doesn't sound so good. Right. But if you're like, well, there are 4 parts to this. First of all, we work on this. So you can do this. Then we work on this. And then when we do this, this is when you achieve insert desired results at the end. Cool. It simplifies it. Okay, cool. So they're telling me all I need to do with these 4 steps. And then by doing this, I'll achieve the desired goal and outcome at the end. Don't make it too long. Otherwise, it doesn't seem simple. Optimum length are 3 to 5 steps. So obviously imagine if you're like, so I take you through this really simple 10-part framework. People will be like, that does not sound simple. That sounds very overwhelming. People are hiring you to simplify their current situation. And this is another thing that people feel like in order to include more value, it's like, I need to include everything. You don't. You just want to help people overcome the first step. And then when you've done that, then it's called, what's the next thing after that? But trying to include everything, people will just be like, this is so overwhelming. I just, and that's when they'll take a step back. So make sure that you attach desired outcomes to every step so they understand why they need it. So another example, too many people don't include the desired outcomes. So without a desired outcome, it's just, I help you create an offer for your services. When people are consuming a lot of content, they might be like, yeah, okay, cool. Like, I know I've heard people talking about needing to create an offer, as opposed to, I help you create an irresistible offer for your services so you can make sales every month. What's the reason why they need to achieve that step in a way that they get? I help you nail the finer details of your ideal client so you know exactly who is going to afford your services every month. So you want to attach desired outcomes to every step so that people understand how achieving that step is going to take them forward to their goal. Does that make sense? Any questions? Put them in the chat. What do we go over here? USPs, problem solving. Cool. Let me know in the chat if you have done your offer yet. Do you have a framework for your services? Let me know if you have a framework for your services. Are you attaching desired outcomes to the framework? Let me know in the chat. I'm going to give you some time to write that in while I take a big sip of water. Otherwise, put that in the chat anyway. And when it pops up, we'll go to the chat. Okay. I do have all this. Yes. Whoop. I've been working on a signature framework. Yeah. How exciting. It's great. And this is part of your unique selling point. Love that. Okay. How to ensure your offer speaks directly to ideal buyers. Market research. My clients laugh at me because I just say market research all the time, but it is true. It's so needed. In business, guesswork fails and facts win. Market research is your key to your offers. So being able to create something that is needed and that people will invest in. Your ideal client, getting up close and personal with them to understand them better. So their pain points, their struggles, their goals, their desires. And your content, your marketing, being able to use your findings to create content that really connects deeply and makes them say, whoa, are they inside my head? And when you get to that level where people are like, wow, like your content just speaks to me, this is because you know who your ideal client is. You've spoken with them enough to know all the things that they're trying, that they're not doing, that they're missing, that they are doing, that you know they're doing wrong. The more people you speak to, the more clients you work with. This is when you get to understand all of this information. So what do you need to find out? Their biggest struggle when it comes to their overarching pain point. So these are very generic and broad examples, but so making more money, more consistent sales, increasing their client base. What is their biggest struggle when it comes to the thing that you help them with? Then the micro struggles that they experience within the bigger struggles. So these micro struggles are attached to the framework that you have. So what do you struggle with when it comes to nailing part 1, nailing part 2, nailing part 3? This allows you to go deep with understanding your ideal client. So within the overarching goal, you want to find out what the struggles and pain points and challenges are. But then within the micro struggles, you want to find out as well so that you can create super specific and targeted offers for each individual step of your framework, like within that, but your content so that you can say, this is why you're struggling with this. This is why you're struggling with this part of the framework, this part of the framework. In what way specifically those struggles are holding them back? So people do tend to have, in my experience, they have some level of awareness. When you ask them, like, how do you really feel like all of this that you've mentioned is holding you back right now? And they know why it's holding them back. What are their goals over the next 3 to 6 months? So you really want to get an idea of what's the vision that people have. What are their goals? What are they working towards? Because this is when you're able to paint that vision and create your offers and also your marketing around the goals that they're working towards. So if, for example, this was my generic example, but like if someone's like, in 3 months' time, I want to be hitting 10K months, then you can create an offer that's specifically around, this is a 3-month program helping you hit 10K months. as an example. So you really need to get a deep understanding of what those goals are, because that's what they're working towards. High ticket buyers have a vision of where they want to go, who they want to be, what they want to achieve. So you always need to be speaking to the future. Also the reality, also the challenges, because that's what connects with them right now and shows that you understand them. But high ticket buyers have a vision of where they want to be. And so that's what you need to speak to, is the vision. What motivates them to achieve those goals and what those goals will bring them. So of course, this is about finding out what they really value. Like, why are you doing this? What motivates you to want to achieve this? These answers and more give you a really clear idea of who your ideal client is, what they need, why they need it. And it really allows you to use the specific words and phrases in your offers, your content, that your ideal client, your ideal buyer is thinking. And this builds trust because it shows that you get them. So there's no secret in marketing. You always want to be speaking to your ideal client, finding out more stuff about them, and then using what they tell you to position your offers in the right way, to speak to them directly through the marketing, to bring in qualified leads, qualified buyers. And it also gives you unlimited ideas to focus your content around. That's a whole other masterclass around content creation, but it allows you to build out. I use a concept with my clients called the content wheel, and it allows you to really build out this, what do people call it, like a matrix of unlimited content ideas when you know your ideal client. So any questions on this part? Let's do a recap. I already forgot what we covered. To ensure your offer is speaking directly to the buyers: market research, offer positioning, content positioning, the different questions that you need to ask people to find out. Are any of these questions that you use yourself in market research? Do you have any other questions that you use that you really like and you really get good feedback on? Let me know. And then it allows you to build out all of the stuff that you're doing. Let me know. We'll come to the chat box as your answers come in. So offer creation and validation to start generating hot leads for your services. Your one-liner elevator pitch. This uses the information from your offer and should tell people everything they need to know without needing any extra information. Of course, building out your offer is more than this, but the one-liner elevator pitch should tell them everything they need to know. This is the thing that also sits at the top of your LinkedIn profile, so that when people land on your profile, they're like, this is my person that I need to follow. So I help. There are many different ways that you can do, multiple different ways that you can do your I help statement. But for me, this one is the most impactful and the most clear. And that is what you want, is clarity. So I help insert target audience to what are your services, very clearly stated, so you can hit the main goal and achieve the most desired outcome. So I've just used the example that I used at the beginning. So I teach target audience, disruptive, outspoken coaches and consultants, what are the services, how to effectively market their services and unapologetically self-promote, so you can, like, goals and desires, sell out your offers, quantum leap to 5-figure months, and scale your business twice as fast. So you want to make sure that people understand very clearly what your services are. Because let's say that I removed how to effectively market your services, that bit in brackets, and it was just, I teach disruptive outspoken coaches and consultants how to sell out your offers, quantum leap to 5-figure months, and scale your biz twice as fast. It could be anything. I could be a personal branding photographer saying that you need premium images to get there. I could be a mindset coach. I could be a business strategist. I could be a content writer. So you want to be really, really clear about what your services actually are. Because otherwise people are like, I don't know what this person actually does. I can see that they can help me get some results, but are they a photographer? Are they a content writer? Are they a coach? Are they a consultant? I don't know. So that you want to make sure is, don't overcomplicate it. So clear. Literally just write down now. Write down this in the chat box, not the whole sentence. I want you to write down the second bracket. How to effectively market your services. What is it that you do? Very, very simply put. Because that's what you want to communicate, so that people understand, oh, okay, this person writes content for sales pages. I need a sales page. Cool. That's my person. this person writes content for blogs. Cool, I need blogs. It's very clear. Yeah. So write down in the chat box, just that second bullet, just the second bracket, really, really simply and clearly, what is it that you do? I'm going to come to them in a minute. So once you've created your offer, based on market research, of course, you want to validate it for 2 reasons. So firstly, it provides feedback to make the offer even stronger for when it goes live, when you launch it, when you start selling it. And secondly, it starts generating leads immediately. So with this specific thing that we did with one of my clients, we used this exact strategy and she banked 14K in sales that month just from doing this. Just from doing this. And many different strategies to grow your business. So this is why you need to go out there and do it. So in order to validate your offer, you need only 4 things. You need the one-liner elevator pitch, because as I said, that should tell everybody in one sentence what it is that you do, who you help, how you help them, what you help them achieve. And that itself should sell the offer. The desired outcomes of the program, the features and the benefits of what's involved. So like in this program, you know, you get a bi-weekly strategy call. You also get like a unlimited tech support, just because people have an expectation of like, what does the offer actually involve? And of course, the investment details as well. And then you want to ask very specific questions to get the answers that you need when you're validating your offer. So I have 5 favorites. So is this a program that you would invest in? If not, how come? This is great because if they say yes, then you can sign them up there and then. And if they say no, then you want to dig deeper to find out why. So that, you know, is it something to do with something's not speaking to them or you're not communicating something in the right way? What, if anything, about the program would you change or remove? So this allows you to see what you're including that might not be relevant for the target audience. You obviously want to make sure that you're creating exactly for them. So it allows you to see what's like less relevant, what they feel like they don't need help with as much. What about the program do you love and that really speaks to you? Great. This is what you would want to hone in on when you're selling it in your marketing, because whatever it is that they're like, this, I need this. Then that's like, cool. I'm gonna market that. Is there anything else you're struggling with right now in relation to the focus of the program that you would want the program to include? Again, I've always found that people do tend to have a level of awareness with where their gaps are. So at that point, people are like, oh yeah, like actually I do kind of need help with this. Is that something you'd include? They might say, I don't know. It can be a case of you don't know what you don't know. But as I said, people do tend to have a level of awareness. And what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on the price point in relation to the results you will achieve? This is just validating the price point, but ultimately, if you know that it's a needed offer, people will pay. But you do want to get a ballpark figure, because if, for example, you're like, I want to charge 10K for this, but people are like, I've just started out in business. I'm not saying people won't, but like just generally, it might be the case that that target audience cannot afford the price point that you want. So you want to make sure that what you're charging is at a level that people can typically afford. Okay. Content marketing systems to make content creation friction-free. I would argue, what does content marketing systems mean to create? Are you writing the content for them? Are you coaching them on how to create content for social media, for example? I would still say, like, when I read content marketing system, like, what does that mean? What does that mean? Because also there's a difference with whether you're coaching or whether you're writing it for them. So you want to make sure that that's really specific, and also content creation friction-free. I would still argue, like, what does that actually mean? If it means like that you know like how to create content without like the overwhelm, for example, I'm just trying to think of it off the top of my head, then state that rather than friction-free. Okay. Okay, your offer is now ready to be sold. So the biggest mistake that I see when people sell their services is focusing on selling the actual solution rather than selling the goals and desires. Have you seen this before? Let me know in the chat box. When people are focusing on, for example, like, so if you want to learn how to create better content, then my services are for you. People do know, they're like, yeah, I do want better content. People know that they want that. but what's the vision that gets them saying, I need this now? Saying that I help people create better content is like, not, I want to drop 10K on this program. Creating that vision of where they want to be, the big picture, that is what gets people to take action. So people buy dreams, they buy goals, they buy return on investment. They don't buy your thing. Your thing is just the vector, the carrier to getting them to that point in the future where they really want to be. So too many people fall back into actually selling the solution. So this program is helping you create amazing content versus this program is teaching you how to start driving higher revenue months without having to spend hours in the DMs every single day. So you can make more consistent sales and have more time to focus on growing your business visibility. For example, you see the difference. It's like, wow, yeah, great. That's what I want. The sales, the business visibility, more time doing all these extra things. Let's just come to the chat box. I see this all the time. Fair, selling the outcome, fab. Fab. So before we do have a Q&A at the end, but does anyone have any questions on this part? What have we covered in this part? Your one-liner elevator pitch, your offer creation, market research, validating your offer as well, the very specific questions that you want to ask people, and your offer now being ready to be sold. Does anyone have any questions? Put it in the chat box. And if not, then I am going to spend 5 minutes telling you about this offer, which I'm bringing back, which I'm so excited about because I ran it twice last year and it was really great. And I just decided I wanted to bring it back because loads of clients were very happy. So this is a group 30-day accelerator program for disruptive, outspoken coaches and consultants, teaching you how to package up your services, your core services, into a sizzling hot, highly transformational, signature high-ticket offer that replaces your 9-to-5 income with high-ticket clients who want what you are selling and are ready to pay. And this is even if you've got limited testimonials, limited sales experience, and even if you don't know what you're selling yet. So this is the offer, like for you, when you create this offer for yourself in your own business, this is the offer that when packaged up correctly is going to take you to consistent 5K months. This is the offer. So when creating this highly transformational offer with my clients is what took, for example, my client Vicky from a 2K month to a 14K month within 6 weeks of working together. My client Carissa from inconsistent 3 to 5K months to consistent 30K months within 7 months. And my client Alicia, who had 0 services when she came to me, to get fully booked out in her one-to-one within 90 days of working together. And this is why I'm teaching you inside this program so that you can start bringing in consistent 5K months ASAP. So I had clients inside this program when I ran it twice last year. Over 20 clients have gone through this. They joined with nothing, no offer, and they started signing high ticket clients in less than 30 days. So it's great. So this is I've announced the name, Signature Sellout Offer. It's teaching you my simple 4-part framework on how to actually create your signature high ticket offer for your services that delivers exceptionally transformational, life-changing results for your clients, leaving you with happy clients who refer you on to others. Package up your services in a way that brings in next level clients who are committed to their own radical growth and transformation. These are the best kind of clients to work with because they are ready to go all in and take the action to succeed, and position you as something totally unique and different from what your competitors are doing, so people want to pay you and not them. And here's what's included. It's a 30-day accelerator, once a week group coaching calls to get you fired up and taking big action to ensure you sign as many high ticket clients as possible, a group WhatsApp community for questions and real-time feedback on your business, pre-recorded workshop lessons complete with a detailed action plan in every lesson, teaching exactly what you need to do to start signing high ticket clients into your business consistently, and me as your hype woman and biggest cheerleader. So the investment for this when it launches tomorrow is $297 total, but for today and also for masterclass attendees, it's $247 total, or you can do a 2-part payment plan of 2 times $159. So if that is something that you want to enroll into, then message me after on LinkedIn, or you can respond to one of the emails that I sent out this morning, if that's easier for you, and let me know, and we can get you enrolled ASAP. So Thank you. Question time, shoot. Let me know. Yes, Annie, you've enrolled. I'm excited to get going as well. Kickoff is next week. Yeah, next Monday. I didn't say that, but we kick off next Monday. So are there any other questions on the entire, obviously we've had questions throughout, but are there any other questions? In fact, wait, I'm going to come off screen share now. Okay. Are there any other questions that anybody has on anything that we have covered today? Shoot. You can type it in the text box. If you want to come off mute, just come off mute and ask me. Okay, I'm coming to the text box. Is it useful or not useful to niche down on a particular industry or role? I think I know the problem I solve, so that's good. But as I said earlier, solopreneurs is too broad. I seem to speak to coaches, consultants most often, so should I focus on them? Yes, is my question. Okay, thanks, Carol. Bye. So you don't necessarily need to niche down on a particular industry. It depends what you mean by industry. People say, like, I work with HR startups, HR tech startups. I work with health startups. So you don't necessarily need to niche down into something like that. And also you can define a niche in different ways. So for example, as you saw at the beginning, I work with coaches and consultants, but the way that I define them is they're those disruptive, outspoken, typical, like extrovert, misfits, rebellious type of people. So like, that's my niche. It's not like I work with HR coaches or something like that. So role, absolutely. For me, Adam, you need to, and this is always an opinion, but this is my opinion. You need to niche down solopreneurs into something that is more specific. Because as I said, bye. As I said, yeah, obviously, the pain points are different. The challenges are different. The goals are different. Coaches and consultants have a different business model to the way that freelancers have a business model. And so when you're talking about, you know, the way that they're like selling, it's different. So if you want to work with coaches and consultants, then be specific about that. Yeah. Does that help? Cool. Very helpful. Fab. Giada, Annie, any questions from you? Otherwise, oh my goodness. Also, 4 o'clock. Sorry, I'm so proud of myself that was bang on, like bang on. That's amazing. Fab, fab, fab. Cool. Okay, awesome, guys. Thank you so much. Look forward to seeing you around LinkedIn, and I will chat with you soon.